So I got a bit of a quick video for today. It's not going to be too long, hopefully, but it's a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for some time. Maybe starting a bit of a new series on the channel too, hopefully, if this ever goes anywhere. But Linux. I talk about it a lot. Talk about a certain piece of software for it, all the time. And one of the things I never really got into is kind of the nitty gritty about using Linux, especially for content creation. Since I've really been wanting to use Linux as my daily driver for content creation, it's probably only fitting that hair on my face. Probably only fitting that I talk about one of the more important aspects of Linux, and that is universal packages. So today, let's take a quick dive into universal packages and the two biggest players in that space. Roll the new intro. So this video is sponsored by my Discord server. So if you would like to talk with a larger community at hand and talk to some really interesting people, and I do mean interesting, you can the link for that will be down below. And if you'd like to get any more updates about the channel, because I don't have the community tab quite yet, YouTube tells me that is on the way. Link to that will also be down below. Anyway, before we start with getting into Flatpak and Snapcraft specifically, let's get some very basic things things out of the way. Can I speak? What is a universal package? Well, in Linux, you don't really get your software from some website out there on the internet and download and install it like you would on Windows. On Linux, you get things typically through a package manager. Now, you still do get software through normal means, like more traditional means like you do in Windows or Mac OS. But again, like I said, most of it's done through a package manager. Now, what is a package manager? Well, a package manager is a program that is usually used through a command line or a graphical user interface shop, kind of like the Windows Store and the App Store, but a little more integrated into the operating system than those other two are. It would search repositories for software, and if it's found imaginable into either any dependencies, now a dependency as I'm describing it here, would be a file, library, binary, anything that the program relies on to function, it will gather it and install all of it, all at once. No searching for weird dependencies on GitHub, nothing like that. It installs all of it because it knows what it needs. Now, here's the thing. Different distributions will use different package managers. For example, Arch uses Pacman or Pamac. Solus uses EO package. Ubuntu uses apt. Can't really think of any others off the top of my head, but you get the idea. These different package managers are typically not compatible with each other. So if you're using Ubuntu, you can't use Pacman or Pacman because you're not using Arch. You can't use it. So that's where universal packages come in. A universal package is not limited to one specific distribution. Despite the fact that all these distributions are running the same base operating system, they're running Linux, they can't use them because, well, the different syntax for using them would be different. But with the universal package, that is not a problem. Now, universal packages are not available for all distributions. There are still some holdouts, and that's really dependent on Canonical or Flatpak to really get on that. But the fact of the matter is that you can use these universal packages on pretty much any major distributions out there. So you can use it on Solus, you can use it on Ubuntu, you can use it on Fedora, you can use it on Arch, you can use it on anything. You can even use Flatpak on Chrome OS. That is something I'll get into a little bit later, but for now, let's focus on how to use the universal package. Now, the two biggest players in the universal package space is Flatpak and Snapcraft. Now, I'm going to focus primarily on Flatpak because for two main reasons. One, I like Flatpak. I prefer it. It's a higher quality software repository. I find it easier to use too. And second, it has the largest support for the largest major distributions out there. So, like I said, it does have support for Chrome OS. Now, we'll get into that a little bit later. Now, to install a universal package, you're going to need to give your distribution access to the repositories that they access. Now, a lot of distributions, in case of Flatpak, will have Flatpak already pre-installed. Like Fedora, the latest version of Fedora, whether or not it uses GNOME 40, will have Flatpak pre-installed. Some versions of Fedora you will still need to point towards the repository, but you don't need to install it. It's really nice because Flatpak, while not being hard to install, can be a little bit interesting when it comes to certain distributions. I've had problems in the past. Now, if you're using any Ubuntu-based distribution, especially Ubuntu itself, Snapcraft will be enabled by default. In fact, on Ubuntu specifically, you can only use Snapcraft through the package manager, like the main package manager, like the Ubuntu software store. That's part of the reason why I don't like Snapcraft, is that I've heard people describe it as a walled garden, and they are very much on point with that. I probably should get on with this main topic here. To install Flatpak, if your distribution does not have it pre-installed already, you simply just go to Flatpak's website. Just search Flatpak in Google. Should be one of the first results. You go to the page where it allows you to set up. Should be a blue button on this main page, and you just move mouse over to your distribution that you are currently using, whether it be Solus, CentOS, Chrome OS, Ubuntu, Fedora, anything. It will give you all the syntaxes you need to install Flatpak and enable the FlatHub repository. Make sure you enable the FlatHub repository. The thing about universal packages is that your distribution probably doesn't have a repository for FlatHub already pre-installed. So if you do not have that installed, you cannot install Flatpak packages or Snapcraft packages. Although Snapcraft doesn't have that much of that problem compared to Flatpak, but we won't mention that. Once either Flatpak or Snapcraft is installed, you can start installing apps. Now, both of them have ways of installing programs without using a package manager, specifically through a command line or a graphical user interface. And with Snapcraft, you can install things directly from the Snap store. But Flatpak offers a Firefox extension that works very much well with GNOME 40, which I find pretty convenient. But you can install the extension on any Firefox-based browser and install packages through there. You can even run them through Firefox, which is actually kind of cool. Not necessary, but kind of cool. But once you have it installed, Bob's your uncle. You can start installing things. Good Lord. But before we end off the video, let's get this elephant in the room out of the way. Chrome OS. What about it? Well, on Chrome OS, you can enable Linux packages, more specifically Ubuntu packages. Now, Snapcraft does not have support for Chrome OS, as far as I know, but Flatpak does. So if you're using a Chromebook, you do have access to these packages that you wouldn't otherwise have. Because on Chrome OS, you are limited mostly to the Play Store, which is fine. There are apps there, but they're not really always designed with Chrome OS in mind. So being able to install Linux packages on Chrome OS is fantastic, which is the great thing about Chrome OS being based on Linux. I said Chrome OS way too many times there, but I'm fine with it. And there you have it, a quick introduction to Flatpak and Snapcraft. Now, I plan to make more videos on this in the future if this ever goes anywhere. I probably won't, but, it's going out of my niche, so, well, not really, but, it's something that I like to continue talking more about. Linux is a passion of mine. A big passion, actually. I want to make it my daily driver. It's something that I really want to focus on long term. So if this ever goes anywhere, I'll expect more videos on it in the future, in addition to my more normal content of Krita and Cavalry and stuff like that. Which, by the way, Cavalry video coming around. I'm starting to make the playing stages for it. So getting back into Cavalry after so long. But if you like this video, consider giving it a like. And if you didn't like it, well, whatever you do helps me. So thank you. If you'd like to see more from the channel, consider giving us a subscription. Subscribe. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later. Still can't go one video without some screw up somewhere halfway through it. Or at the end. See you later.